So I am heading to Nashville. I'm actually parked in a Starbucks parking lot right now, and I did not bring my dash mount, so I'm having to hold my little gimbal here. And I normally try to make a trip at least every 2 or 3 months over here from California to visit with my parents, my brother, his wife, and my uncle and aunt. And this trip I actually had to come by myself, but normally I'll come to kind of help my parents out. They are older, and also, again, spend time with my brother. He's working today, unfortunately, and he's kind of an audiophile. He's been into audio longer than I have. But I thought, since I'm over here, I would just take the opportunity to go visit some of the audio stores and try and get a feel for what since the music industry is just huge here. Obviously, you've got a lot of musicians in the area, professional and even just people getting started in the industry. And now that the industry has pretty much almost completely moved over to in-ear monitor systems for stage, I thought it would just be interesting to see what the IEM situation is like around here, because I know there are a lot of musicians and entertainers that have to use them for their live performances. And also kind of just talk about the differences between in-ear monitors that are designed for stage use and in-ear monitors, again, that are used for home use. But what's interesting is when I went to do my research on in-ear monitor companies in Nashville, surprisingly, I couldn't find very much. I only found 2 places that I could stop by today. Fur Audio does have a location here in Nashville, but it's by appointment only. And since this was kind of last minute, I just couldn't make that happen. And then Ultimate Ears also has a by appointment only location here as well, but they are pretty small, and I couldn't make that happen either, unfortunately. So they do have a company called Alclair that actually my cousin, who is a musician, and he was here in Nashville for a while recording, he used their in-ear monitors. So that's how I knew about them. And then, so I thought, well, I'll stop by, kind of take a look at some of the stuff they have. I have never seen their stuff. I've never listened to it. I don't know. I've looked online, so I have a little bit of an idea of what their price ranges are, what the driver configurations are, but I've never actually demoed anything. So I thought I would just take the opportunity. Maybe we'll stop by the store, Alclair, and take a look at what they've got. Again, listen to some stuff and maybe hopefully talk to someone there. But anyways, it's getting late in the morning, so we got to get on the road. On my way to Nashville, and I've made this trip before, so I'm kind of familiar with how nice some of these areas are, you know, as you get closer to Nashville. And of course, Nashville is literally exploding right now, and so you've got new construction up everywhere. But I'm going to turn my camera around and just kind of give you an idea of some of what these newer developments on the outskirts of Nashville look like. So let's see here. And these developments are going up all over the place. So you can see how some of these houses, again, they're not huge lots, but they're beautiful homes. Okay, I got to get my camera adjusted here. So this house is pretty nice. cool. I'm here with Justin, and he's going to go over some of the different IEMs and driver configurations for us.
Yeah, man. So everything we do is custom, except for these 3 sets here: universal, single, dual, and triple drivers, all balanced armatures. Everything we do is BA, except we have a couple that are mixed with BA and electrostat. So for our customs, we have 2 sets of duals. We have our Versa, which is more of a flat natural sound, Dual XB, a little bit extra bass. Same thing with our triple drivers. We have a ST3, so this is a 3-way, low, mid, high with 3 tubes. And then we have our Tour, which is 2 tubes, it's 2 subs and a tweeter. So that one's got a little bit more low-end presence. We have our RSM quad. It's 2 subs, a mid, and a tweeter. Very balanced, very natural. It's definitely #1 for singers, for monitors, front of house. And then our 5 driver is the most bass that we actually have. So it's 4 subs and a tweeter. Great for drummers, bassists, DJs. 6 driver is our most popular for touring musicians. 4 subs, a mid, and a tweeter. Really good balance, but still has really good power and headroom and low end. And then moving up to kind of like more like our pro line, we have a Studio 4, which is like a hyper flat, true flat sound. 10 driver, 4 subs, 4 mids, a tweeter, a super tweeter. And then we have our Prestige series, which is kind of like our pro touring line. My favorite, which is the DKM, it's a 5 driver. It's got a sub, a mid, a tweeter, and then 2 electrostats. Super punchy lows, super crispy highs. The Icon 9 driver, 4 subs, 4 mids, and a tweeter. This one, it's got kind of a mid boost right around 2K. Great for vocals, great for drummers, anybody. And then probably what I would say is our best mixing and mastering monitors, but also great for anything. The Electro 6. 2 subs, a mid, a tweeter, and then 2 electrostats.
Nice.
And then the ESM, which is 13. It's 4 subs, 4 mids, tweeter, super tweeter, 3 electrostats.
Nice. So this is the Icon, and this is a 9 driver setup here. So the sound is described as smooth, punchy lows with upper end and clarity and articulation for demanding stage musicians. So we'll take a listen to this. Okay, so I just listened to the Icon, and now I'm gonna check out the Alclair Studio 4. So the Studio 4 is actually supposed to be more of a neutral tuning, and it is, let's see, the price is, so that's $999. It's a 4 driver IEM, and again, it has more of a balanced and a neutral tuning. So I'm going to swap these ear tips out and we'll take a listen. Oh, and by the way, I am using right now I'm testing these on, I brought the Onyx XM10 Limited, and I also have the Ibasso DX340 here. And all of these are terminated in 3.5, so I'm just using the 3.5 termination. But I also have I got my Divas out here. I've got the Ciadio Hakuyas. Okay, so I just spent some time with the Studio 4 here, and I actually found the graph on Squiglink, and I'll probably throw that up on the video. So I was talking to Justin right now, and he told me that I should listen to, if I like that I should check out the Electro. So I'm going to check the Electro out right now. This one here, this is a 6 driver, and it's about $1,799. And the description for the sound is unparalleled clarity, depth, and soundstage, 4-stage, and hi-fi listeners. Okay, so I think we're just about done. I listened to the Icon, the Electro, and the Studio 4, and that kind of gave me a good idea. I didn't listen to all of these, but if I'm being honest, I think of the 3 that I tried, I think I liked the Electro the best, and you can definitely tell the tuning approaches that they take with these compared with, again, these are actually tuned for stage and studio use. And one thing I did notice was that the borehole on the Electros were huge, but because of the borehole size, I wasn't able to get any of my tips to work. So the Studio 4, the S&S tips wouldn't work, the final Type E's wouldn't work, my spin fits wouldn't work. So anyway, yeah, but I just went ahead and they gave me some alcohol wipes, and so I cleaned these tips off. But anyways, but yeah, so that wraps it up pretty much, and we'll see you at the next location. I think after this I'm going to travel around Nashville for a little bit. Okay, so I just finished up at Alclair, and Justin was amazing, very, very helpful. Anyways, when I finished up, I went next door. I just finished eating some pizza at a really cool little pizza place right next door. I listened to 3 different IEMs. So I did like the electro, but again, what's interesting is the tuning approaches that they take with these IEMs. It's a little different because again, they're geared towards stage use and use for performance, for live performance. And the tuning approaches are just really different than what I'm used to. And if I'm being honest, for personal listening, I do like the tunings of like the Diva or the Studio 4, the soft ear Studio 4, or a lot of the neutral references that I have. They're a little more in line with my preference, and it's just what I'm used to. And I even use those for stage use. So it's interesting to hear an IEM's tuning, something I'm not familiar with, but is actually probably really common, especially here in Nashville, because there's not a lot to choose from here in Nashville. I think these are probably one of the more popular brands, and based on some of the stuff they told me, they sell a lot of IEMs here in Nashville. But again, 90% of it, he said, is used for actual live stage performance. So a lot of the tunings are going to be specific to certain, either for vocalists or for specific instruments, for bass or for drums. So the approach, again, is a little bit different than what you would get from like a Chi-Fi product. But again, I use a lot of Chi-Fi on stage. Everything I've used in the last probably 2 or 3 years has been primarily Chi-Fi for playing drums, and it works perfectly fine for me. But anyways, I had a great time at Alclair, and they were just, the staff and Justin was really, really helpful. Had a great time and enjoyed that pizza. Now we're gonna head over to do some sightseeing in Nashville and then go to Vintage King. Vintage King, that's the name of it. But again, they've got some studio stuff, some old stuff, new stuff, and I think they have some headphones too. So we'll see you guys over there. But again, we're gonna do some sightseeing right now. So as you can see, every one of these musicians in these little bars along Broadway are using an in-ear monitor system, and of course it looks like a lot of them, these guys are probably having to unplug and plug in all the time. So the equipment is right here more about being, rugged and being able to withstand a lot of moving and unplugging and packing. So it's a very different approach from a musician standpoint, especially here when you're in Nashville as a struggling artist trying to survive. The whole perspective of IEMs from a musician's perspective, again, it's a completely different type of application. So everything's going to be a little bit different with that. But anyway, so let's do a little more walking. Mixer right there on that little drum stool. Looks like he's wearing KZ in-ears. So anyways, okay, so I'm here at Vintage King with Jeff. You're the manager. Cool. Nice to meet you again, Jeff. And thank you for your time. Really appreciate it.
So we've got 3 locations. Our main warehouse is in Detroit, and that's where the company started. Nashville is just a showroom. So you come and see your products here, but we would have them shipped to wherever you live, or to here, or whatever. And then we've got a showroom and a warehouse in Burbank, California, LA.
Okay, so the focus is primarily on studio-related equipment.
We do live sound to some degree, but I would say 80% plus is for home or pro studios.
Okay, and since vintage is in the name, I'm assuming you've got some cool vintage stuff.
We do, and that's how the company actually started. Originally it was based around the founders looking for gear from themselves and fixing, doing renovations on it and fixing it up and things like that, which started expanding. Oh, we'll find it for our friends too, and that just kind of built out from there.
Nice. Well, Jeff was just telling me this is just the tip of the iceberg. Right here is a little entrance, and he said there's a lot more to see, so I cannot wait. But I see a pair of focals right there hanging on.
So, like I said, we don't do much inventory, but all this stuff, staples, things that might be needed on it. Hey, I need some cables or that kind of thing. We do carry some of that. Guitar pedals we've got here. Over here we've got a display with Atom audio, studio monitors, some small desktop interfaces down here.
Nice, okay.
Microphones in stock, and the idea being that you can come and check things out and compare and contrast and try to find the right thing you need. That would be something that's not available to most towns, to where they can go check out this kind of quality of microphone. If you pick a family of microphones, there's probably 3 or 4 or 5 or 6 different brands where you can get into different price points and still retain the basic character. They're all kind of based on mics that were built back in the 50s, 60s, and 70s.
Very cool.
And there's companies that come in and try to replicate those, and they do it at different quality levels and different manufacturing levels and things like that.
And then I see right behind you here, I see some Beyerdynamic stuff. I see some Audio Technica, some Focal Odyssey.
My glasses on, and we can get you hooked up here if you want.
Yeah, very cool. I'm gonna shut down here for a second. Okay, so the reason I'm interrupting the video at this point is because I just realized that somehow, I don't know how, either I deleted, I don't know, I can't find the rest of this video here. Right after Jeff and I were talking about the headphones, we moved to the back of his shop, and that's where all the good stuff was. All of the higher end monitors, all the mixers, all of the studio equipment, just a lot of really cool stuff. And again, I lost all the video, and I even had some good conversation between he and I on video. I do have some pictures, I think, so I'll throw those up. But anyway, this was probably the coolest part of the whole trip, and I can't find the video, so apologies for that. I will say that Jeff was very knowledgeable, very nice, very helpful. And again, some of the stuff that I saw was just absolutely, and heard was absolutely incredible. Anyways, after I visited Jeff at Vintage King, I did go back out to Nashville, walked around some more, did more sightseeing. And I think what I'm gonna do is probably just gonna go ahead and throw, I was gonna end it right after this, but I did take a trip to Franklin. And again, part of this video, it's not just about audio, it's also, again, just me trying to connect with you guys. I did that video of my wife and I in Yosemite, and this is just kind of a continuation of that, I guess. Anyways, but I really do sincerely hope that you guys are enjoying this. And again, apologies that there's going to be a huge, very important, very cool part of the video missing, but I do hope that you can still find some enjoyment in the rest of the video. All right, let's continue. So I'm in a cute little town called Franklin here in Tennessee, about 30 minutes from where my parents live. And I'm by myself again today. My brother had to work again, so I thought I would just take a couple of hours and come down and just kind of roam around by myself. It is raining, unfortunately, so my plan was to kind of come down here, get some good video footage, but the rain is kind of off and on, so I got to be careful. But I found a place to park over here, just right a couple of blocks away from downtown. So we're gonna start walking towards downtown, and we'll see how much B-roll I can get down there. But it's a very cute, very quaint little town. This is actually where a lot of the country music stars live. Actually, they live kind of on the outskirts. There's a little region called Leaper's Fork, just about 20 minutes away. A lot of big name country stars that work in Nashville actually live here and own properties, very large, beautiful properties out in the Leaper's Fork area. My family and I have been here several times in the holidays, and Christmas time downtown Franklin is just, I can't even describe it. It's just unbelievable. It's literally like walking in a painting. It's so quaint and just beautiful. So anyways, we'll meet you downtown. So I'm leaving today. I'm heading back to the airport right now. Today is my last day, and I'm gonna switch the. Anyways, I got to see some family that I haven't seen for a while. My sweet niece and her kids and her husband. They showed up this morning, so I only had maybe about an hour and a half or 2 hours to spend with them before I had to get on the road to get to the airport, and just had an amazing time. It went by so fast, but. Anyway, but saying goodbye is always really, really hard. I've had an absolutely amazing time. And again, we went to Nashville, went to Franklin, two of my favorite places, really. At some point, I am going to come back. I have spent a little time over in East Tennessee before, but I definitely want to go back. So it's really beautiful in East Tennessee, where my brother and sister-in-law live. Knoxville area, Johnson City. So, but that's it for this trip. I'm heading back to the airport right now, and we're gonna probably come back in about 2 months, but I'm gonna be coming back with my whole family. I guess that does it for this video. And again, these videos, I'm making these just because a lot of videos I do are the same. They're just me reviewing stuff, and I know a lot of you guys don't really know much about me, so I'm gonna try to do more stuff like this. I'm trying to mix the two, mix the audio with a little bit of my personal life. But anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Have an awesome day.